Shut up and sit down.
Okay. Well, we probably ought to start this shit just because, well, we don't know how long Evan's going to last out in Miller.
Yeah. So let's try it again.
Okay.
Even though you were a great host, Joe. No,
did you like that? Did you like that? I'm working on my hosting skills. I got another idea for a show.
I guess actually I should be pointing to me. It looks like I should point this way, but I know on the recording I should be pointing this way to be pointing towards Evan, which is
correct.
Exactly opposite of what it looks like to me.
That's correct.
No matter what, I can do this, and Joe can blow me.
There's no need. Kyle Allen's not playing. He's under your desk.
He's so injured he can't even get under my desk.
No, that's not true.
Yeah,
he just lives under your desk.
I'm actually at the kitchen table. We're not at the desk. So
nice. Well, I am downstairs because, well, that's just where I do the show. So, all right, Evan, let's start us off.
Let's do it. Everybody welcome into the Pigskin Pricks. As you can see, I'm not in my usual place. I am in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. It's fun stuff. No furniture. I'm on the floor. I'm ready for a good show.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's got a little lag, Joe, because when you said go, he took him a second. Then he was like,
"Oh,
okay.
I know. I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it. Yeah,
I'm just a tad bit behind. You know what's out in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. I'm using a hotspot on my phone, so we're really forcing it to make this happen, but it's happening. So, I mean, what's on the beer menu tonight, boys? You got something to drink?
I do, and so does Joe. So go ahead, Joe.
I'll keep it quick because we don't want.
You said that last week. It was not quick.
My beer section was quick. Yours never is.
It was Bud Light, and he talked for more than 2 minutes. So that was
it wasn't Bud Light last week. It was Hellcat Hells to be.
That's right. It was Bud Light. Okay, you're right.
2 weeks ago.
Before.
So shut it, Harry.
Last week it should have been decent.
Coming from the guy who talks from the battlefield state for 27 minutes about bourbon.
And ginger ale.
Give me shit. All right. Well, this beer I've had 1,000 times, but I bring it to the show because I love it. It's really, really good. And it is
Natty Light.
Nope, Radler by Pitcher's Brewing Company. It's basically a lager, a grapefruit lager with a hint of blood orange.
Hey,
I'm sure you've had it.
Turn it. I want to see their blood orange. See, sometimes it's grapefruit, by the way. I've had other Radlers. I've not had, what was the name of this brewery again? Pitchers?
Two Pitchers Brewing Company.
Never had that brewing company, but I've had several different types of Radlers, and I usually like them. They're usually
this one's really, really good. We find it everywhere here. We actually go to an axe throwing place down in the old market, and they have this on tap.
Where is Two Pitchers Brewery located? Probably somewhere nearby. Miller, South Dakota?
My guess is no.
That'd be nice.
Does it say here? Jesus. Let me lift that up here.
I should have asked. It was going to be a quick review, and now it's going to take 3 hours.
It takes forever.
It doesn't say on the can.
All right. I'll
I don't know.
it real quick.
There you go. Yeah. Look it up.
I thought maybe you'd be prepared. You would know.
It's delicious. You get it's definitely grapefruit, but on the back end of that, you get that blood orange, which is a little sweeter, and it's just a perfect combination of sour and sweet. I mean, it's just wonderful. It gets an 8.8.
8.8.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I said. I've had it a ton of times. It's really, really clean, really crisp. John, you would really like this, I think.
Oakland, California. They're not even
Oakland?
fucking anywhere close to you guys. Oakland, California.
Well, that's crazy.
But
it does not stay on the can. It just
one of their taglines on their site was went away. Let's go back to tap room. God, where'd it go?
I don't know.
Contact us. Salute the fruit.
Ooh.
Salute the fruit.
Salute the fruit.
Well, here.
That makes sense with maybe they're into their Radler. So, hey, nice. 8.8. Okay, so I got something I've never drank really before in my life, but at my favorite Parkway liquor store. I went in there to get some non-beer, And as soon as I came in, so Tennessee changed their laws, and now they can have like beer and liquor in the same building.
You know, we've had this conversation like 7 times.
I walk in there. They got an awesome supply of beer, and I see this one, along with a bunch of others I'll get to do. Look at the name, 10W40.
10W40, I like that. Yeah.
Triple chocolate. It's got Imperial Stout brewed with cocoa powder, cocoa nibs, and chocolate malt, vanilla, and lactose. Who cares about the lactose part?
Right.
And it contains alcohol, believe it or not. It's not oil. It contains alcohol. Thank you,
What
guys.
kind of alcohol?
Wow.
Apparently chocolate alcohol. So
Chocolate alcohol.
I was trying to figure out what to do tonight, and I saw this one because I stuck it in the fridge. I only got a couple of them because these were not on sale.
Dude, what is it with you only buying a couple?
Well, they weren't on sale.
Well, if he's never had it.
It was one of those.
He's a cheap ass. He won't buy a 6-pack.
No, it was one of those things. It's one of those displays that they didn't have like a 6-pack in a 6-pack ring. They had a bunch of singles. You grab what you want.
So you could have bought 6 individuals.
Yeah, but I bought a ton of other beer. They had a bunch of, the little containers you put them in. Dude, I bought more than a case worth of beer. Yeah. But at maximum, I got 2 of everything.
You're on a chocolate kick lately. Didn't you?
That's why I did it. I just did a Hershey's one. So I wanted to.
Yeah, he did.
So anyway, I was looking. I saw this, and I was like, because I bought a bunch of ciders because my youngest daughter lives with us, and she's into cider lately. But I got a couple other
Cider's
things.
Is good.
So I was thinking about a cider, and I thought, oh, this chocolate one, and I just did a chocolate one. So why not do 2 back to back?
All right.
I've never done this before.
Okay. I'm gonna guess a 5.4.
No, way better than that. You would probably give it a 5.4. It is not.
No doubt.
It is not as Hershey's chocolatey flavored as the Hershey's, obviously.
Obviously.
It's more stouty, but not bad.
More stouty. A little stouty.
Less chocolatey.
Less chocolatey.
God, it's still fucking good. So one of the things that some of the stouts or porters will have that I don't mind, but I'm not a big coffee fan, is the coffee flavor. This doesn't have that.
Oh, I've had one of those.
This doesn't have the coffee flavor. It has a stouty, chocolatey flavor. It's really good. It's not as sweet as the Hershey's. So I actually kind of like it better, weirdly enough. And I love the Hershey's one.
I know.
Let's give this bad boy a 9.3. That's what came to my mind.
Wow, over a 9. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking good. High Wire Brewing. Alcohol content.
Well, he gave the Hershey one a 9.
Here's why. Look at that alcohol content. That's why. 8%.
8? Yeah.
That is
okay.
It tastes really good, man. It's not as
that's
chocolatey,
a dangerous drink.
It's not as sweet, but it's got a great flavor.
Dude, my favorite beer out in Seattle.
It's not like super heavy. It's not. It's
9%.
Heavier, but it's not ridiculous. It's not like I said, it doesn't have the coffee flavor. It's just smooth, really flavorful, really
Great.
Okay, let's move on. See, that was short. I didn't go too long.
Yeah, no, you didn't. That's great.
Nice.
Are we doing
solid beer choices?
Yeah.
Picks? Are we doing something else?
Let's jump into the picks. Let's go to the picks. Why not?
Right
you got the board pulled up?
Somewhere. I have
no, he's not that organized.
I do. I do. Look at this. I have it.
Oh my God! Look at that, you animal.
I have it because I was confident
a
bit to share this with everybody.
You were.
Oh my God!
Yes.
6-0.
I forgot we did 6. I thought we did 5, and I was like, shit, I got 6-0.
No, we were 5.
So of course,
you're pretty good, Joe. He goes 6-0.
You guys both did pretty good, but 6-0 is impressive. Come on, because I picked a couple iffies. Evan, of course, gave us a freebie the first game of the season with the Patriots. Me and Joe were like, "Thank you."
It wasn't a freebie.
We're 24-3, Evan.
It was a freebie.
It's a freebie. Thank you.
It wasn't supposed to be a freebie.
Well, it was 24-3 after they destroyed. I don't even remember who they destroyed last week. 45-0, the Chargers. It was pathetic. And then they get destroyed right back by the other team in the neighborhood. They stayed out there. The Patriots probably should have went home and then went back because they stayed out in California and got their asses handed to them. And then, we were all kind of in line for the next couple games. The Chiefs, though, goddamn Chiefs fucked me in the parlay, but they had it for a little while. Right? Tight game. Yeah. We all were on the Chiefs.
They looked horrible.
We were all on the Chiefs. We were all on the Vikings. We were all on the Colts, right? And then I think I made the more risky picks, and then I went with the Bills and the Ravens. And if you look at the records,
no, you didn't. You went with the favor pick of the Bills.
If you look at the records,
I understand if you just look at records, but look at who was favored in the game, and that was the Bills.
Well,
Thank you very much. And
Evan liked it as
the
well.
Ravens as well. I understand that.
Right. You guys both like the
here's
Browns.
the thing. When you're behind 3 games and you only have 3 games, you got to pick different. So you had picked first. The only games that I could have gone different that I had a chance were those 2 games. The Browns played them tough. They had many chances to win the game.
Yeah.
And they just didn't. They didn't finish.
They were down by 14, but they did. It was a close game.
Something's wrong with the Steelers, man.
Yes,
I don't know. I think Roethlisberger's hurt or something's going on.
The beginning of the game looked pretty good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually had a good
okay.
start, and then the Bills' defense started causing them all kinds of grief.
Yeah, I just something was wrong. I mean, something was
wrong.
wrong.
Running game.
But I mean, he didn't.
And
I
think
the Steelers are in trouble come playoff time.
I think
they are in trouble.
Figured out. I think the teams have figured out that quick pass. They figured out where he's going better than they were early in the season, because he's still letting the ball go really quick, and it's hard to get a lot of pressure on him. But they're defending it really well. I think there was a screen that as soon as the guy got the ball, he got fucking destroyed in that game.
Well, that's what scares me. If the Chiefs have to play the Steelers, they're not good at defending the quick pass.
No,
they're just not. We don't have the speed.
Defending many passes.
That's true, but especially that, and so that concerns me. I did like the fact. I mean, you have to understand. I was rooting against the Steelers because the Chiefs got the number 1 seed.
Yeah. Oh,
so
right.
I'm like,
I
I didn't care about this. I'm like, I need you to lose so the Chiefs have the number 1 seed. Now, it's their job to keep it. Now, they're going into New Orleans this next weekend. That is no easy task.
Yeah, but they still may not have Drew, so that helps.
The Saints fucked me this last weekend.
I'll
tell you when we get to parlays, I'll tell you how they fucked me. But I will say, that's tough. So I was rooting against the Steelers. The Browns, I was torn. It's like, do you root for the Browns? Do you root for the Ravens? Because if the Ravens win, they farther fuck the Raiders. And the Raiders are the team I want to get fucked. I want them out of there. I don't want them in the playoffs. And when if the Browns lose, and because the Ravens are closer to the Raiders, so they block them. The Browns, if the Browns would have won, it didn't really matter. But the Ravens winning and the Raiders losing,
the Colts, helped.
That was huge.
I agree.
And so so it was hard because I'm like, I know I picked them, but I really am rooting against them just because of the whole playoff scenario.
Well, it helps.
So
I appreciate
congratulations on your 6-0. It's hard to do.
You guys didn't do bad. 4-2 is still nice.
No,
right?
I mean,
but I actually stayed up most of the game.
Decent.
I kept waking back up and falling asleep on the Browns-Ravens games, but I woke up to see it tied. Ravens go back, kick that long-ass field goal, and then the crazy safety. And I just went to bed happy. I was thrilled.
Yeah. I guess
I actually was going to text you guys earlier.
Messed up all the sports books.
Yes, it did. The spread.
Did you see the one bet where that was the bad beat? The guy bet $22,000 or $22,000 to win $47,000. He had the Browns plus 4.5 with the safety. They lost by 5.
Yes.
And
then for a moment, that lateral shit was working, and I was like, "Oh no, don't you fucking do it!" And then they just kind of chucked it a little too willy-nilly backwards, and then it got ugly.
Yep.
It almost became a touchdown, and luckily they got on it in time to just make it a safety. To be honest, but
that's a bad beat.
Now you know it sucked. That though it didn't change my outcome. I benched Lamar because I thought the Browns defense was going to make this a tighter game with a lower scoring game.
Yeah.
I still won my fantasy football game, but Lamar scored 37 points in that league, and I played somebody who scored not 37 points, like maybe 19.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a shocking game. I mean, just crazy, unexpected, high scoring. Lamar didn't pass well, as we all know, but he sure ran well. He sure ran that ball, except for when he slipped every other play.
I will say though, that will cost him moving forward in the playoffs.
Oh no,
because people have stopped his run all year.
If
you do that, he cannot beat you. Like that, he just doesn't have. And I don't know if it's that he doesn't have the passing capability, or that he just doesn't have the receivers. I think it's a little of both.
He's like Cam Newton now.
He's not the best passer.
He's not Cam Newton.
He's better right now, but not by much. They both can run, but they both can't throw.
That's true.
Lamar throws a couple more better passes than Cam can.
Yeah, he's a little more accurate, but he doesn't have a whole lot of guys to throw to.
No.
And
No.
He's been dropping a lot of balls and whatnot.
Occasionally he throws a nice pass, but then he just sucks. I mean, it's just shocking that he's so dramatically different from play to play. So I'm going to flip it over.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you can go through this.
Here we go. This should be quick. So I obviously gained 2 on everybody. Now I really am going to have to start to get just schwacked for you guys to catch me.
Yes. However, the last week we talked about.
Oh, yeah. We are. So
talked about
Joe mentioned doing all the games this episode, and I was like, we can do that, but I'd rather save it for the last game, week 17, so to give whoever's behind a chance to catch back up. Plus, it leads nicely into Evan must be having cell phone issues because he just dropped video.
I'm back.
Evan, go with us?
Oh, there you are.
You're there, but your video's gone. You'll get in a second.
Back.
Well, we can hear. Can you hear us?
You're black. You were black, but you weren't back.
There he is. There he is.
So we're going to do all the picks of last week, and what I'm going to ask the guys to do, whoever's leading at that point will send everybody else via email. I didn't talk to you guys about this, but this is what I want to have. Via email, their picks. Then the other guys can make their picks, hopefully independently, and then we'll put them together so that we can display it for our viewers, right? In like a page each, so we can just get a nice display of what it is so everybody can see it. And then, of course, the week will happen. And then after week 17, since we're picking all the games, of course, it leads nicely into the playoffs where there's not as many games. We want to pick them all anyway, right? So from week 17 on, we'll pick every game that happens.
In the playoffs.
And through that point, through the playoffs to the Super Bowl, and that'll be obviously.
That's where we make a comeback, Joe.
Right, the deciding factor.
We're going to give it our hell.
The champion. So in fantasy football, luckily none of you guys went 0-3.
No, as I turned it around, bitches.
Joe actually went 3-0. The negative is none of us made it into the CBS playoffs. I lost by 2 points.
Yeah,
Joe spoiled Evan. Evan wasn't going to make it because I lost anyway, and I didn't tie. I was 2 points away from tying for you, Evan.
Dude, I went into work, and we were laughing I was standing with Broncos fan, and he's like, dude, that was the luckiest win in history. And I'm like, I was watching it. I was praying that you won.
Yeah,
because I just want to see you lose. I'm like,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And there's a good reason. There's a good reason that you want me to lose because in the other 2 leagues I'm in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want you to go 3-0.
As you see, I'm stomping your asses overall for the season.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean,
Joe
did catch Evan, but you both have losing records across all leagues, but not necessarily in a certain league.
Now hold on. I'm not done. I made the playoffs.
No, you did, and you got a chance. You got a chance, and you, even the other leagues that have consolation rounds, you have a chance. CBS is done. Did you notice they won't let us? We don't have a matchup.
Correct.
CBS is over.
Yes.
ESPN, there's a consolation round, so you guys are still playing. And in fact, you both won an ESPN this last week.
Yes.
That's Evan's only win. Joe pulled out a last-minute win thanks to J.K. Dobbins and the Ravens. Joe gets his win in the NFL League and makes the playoffs.
Yes.
And guess who he gets to play in the first round? Me.
Oh,
the best team in the NFL League.
Dude, I swear.
But it is great.
Come on, Lord. Let this be one of those 180-point weeks.
I would have rather you were in the lower bracket so we could have
made
the Super Bowl. That would have been funner.
I know.
But here it is. So, Evan, if he could have just pulled out a win, he might have been in, but he let Supermax win. Stray Cats was up. Stray Cats was up a game. Yeah. So they were good. If you remember, Supermax was the guy that somebody had to lose. You guys had to win to even have a chance.
If we both won and Supermax lost, we would have both been in.
You both would have been in. Otherwise, it was a tiebreaker.
And you'd be playing Evan, and I'd be playing Stray Cats.
Right. That would have been kind of cool. So, anyway. And then, of course, just to give everybody an update, I got to move up.
Dude, your brother scored the most points in ESPN this week. 153 points. I'm like, Rick, what are you doing? Of course, there's a lot of luck in that, I think.
Yeah, but he's still the second worst team in the league.
I know. That's why it was funny.
Only above our buddy Ben, who, by the way, Joe, I texted this week, and he gave me the Well, my number one draft pick
Yeah.
went down early in the season, and I forgot to if I'd have been more witty, I'd have said, yeah, but you lost with him in your lineup.
Yeah.
But anyway, he used that excuse, and I said, well, in CBS, by the way, you guys know this, in CBS, I lost my number one pick, Saquon, and my number two pick, Dak Prescott, and I still went 6, 7, and 1.
Yeah.
So to go 2 and 11 or whatever the hell he went. 2 and no, it's 2 more than 2 and 11, 2 and 12.
You know, I will defend Ben on this. Saquon, you knew was gone. You got rid of him. Christian, they kind of fucked you from week to week. He's coming back. He's not coming back. He's coming back. I'd rather have it be a Saquon.
So you could have dropped him.
Get rid of him, pick up somebody else, and move on. Right. Christian, and I talked to F Dave 24/7.
You can put him on IR and pick up a new person.
Right. You actually had a place to stick him. So he did, but he didn't.
You
get
gain
the
a roster spot. You can put him on IR.
Yeah, I would give him the excuse, except for he didn't have many because he could have went after. Because he was losing anyway. He had the lowest waiver pick.
Yes, he did.
The whole season. He didn't get the replacement, Mike Davis. Somebody else did, and because that somebody else beat you early on in the season, which would be Russell and Flo. He had a different name at that point, I think, but he got Mike Davis and whatever. But if you look at our league, so Ben basically said, hey, I'm really busy. I just didn't get around to it as much because I worked my ass off and shit. And that's fine. I totally understand it's a bummer. And if you actually look at the number of moves in our league, he had one of the lowest moves. He didn't pick up very many people. So I would feel bad, but I don't, in that he didn't manage his team. He didn't go for replacements. He didn't use the waivers to keep his team competitive, and that's always a bummer. But it's great to give your buddy a shit ton, a little bit of shit, because I wish I had it. But when he joined the league, he sent me a pretty long text about how he was going to wipe me and Joe's asses with his team, with his tongue. And I'm saying that because he didn't say it that way, but that's what happened. He basically licked our boots because he sucked. But he said he talked shit, and I was like, it was coming, man. If you're going to talk shit early in the season and then you suck it up to the extreme, you're going to get shit talking back, pal. It's just
Gotta be prepared. Gotta be prepared.
Right. So in ESPN, this is weird. I didn't realize this, but in ESPN, you guys didn't make the playoffs, but you did win at least in the consolation round. But I'm playing Joe's brother. No, I'm not. I'm playing somebody else. I'm playing you guys' cousin. And Joe's brother is playing Joe's friend, Sean
Lehman. Yep.
And I thought, okay, I won. And then why am I still seeing the same team?
No, it's 2 weeks combined.
I've never had this. What kind of fucking league is this?
ESPN does that. Yeah. That's
I've never before in my life.
Yeah.
We play these guys 2 weeks.
But the scores carry over, so you have a 20-point
right. I have a
advantage
28-point lead, and Joe's brother has a 46-point lead almost. That's a nice place to be. Right? Actually, I almost have a 29-point lead, so that's still nice. But goddamn it, I wanted it to be over, and I wanted to be playing the Super Bowl. Because now if you look at the screenshot, I thought we were avoiding Week 17, the dreaded bye week for a lot of your starters that now their team's is locked in. No, most important
they do the same
moment
thing for the championship.
Right, the most important moment of your fantasy football playoffs is Week 17 and this championship game, and you might lose it after having a lead in the Week 16. So, but hey, here I am. Still, at least I won. Well, I was, if you look, the highest scoring team in the league. And I was, I think, the week before when I beat your brother. So,
Joe, maybe we'll get to face each other for the biggest loser award.
Dude,
the consolation. You guys.
I hope so. I'm actually 3-0 against you this season, so I'm looking forward to it.
That's right.
I need to come back.
You won. So Joe has beat Evan in every league. Of course, Evan beat Joe a couple times in some of those leagues. Yep. And we didn't know it, but Joe and I now have another matchup. We thought we were done, but because of the playoffs, we obviously have another matchup to see what's going to happen to our record. So,
and this is actually the biggest matchup of all.
It really is. It's the one that matters, because if you dethrone me, obviously, it doesn't matter what I did all season. If you can kick my ass here.
Right. If I beat you one time, but it's in the playoffs.
Right. You're there, and I'm the guy who just can watch.
You're home on the couch.
Then I'm fighting for third place, because that's the only thing I can get. I hope I win, but it's going to be a hell of a game, because I think you kicked ass this last week in that league, in fact.
Not NFL. No,
it was
89 points.
No, CBS. CBS. The bummer about CBS is you two were the two highest scoring teams in the CBS league. Joe being the highest, only beat Evan, who was the second highest league. But you guys didn't make the playoffs, and you ended the season lower than I did. And That's what a bummer.
It's crazy.
Of course, what we wanted, right, was
we ended well, though, didn't we, Ev?
Right. We wanted the pricks to dominate
We
every
did.
league.
Go out on a high note.
Right. We wanted the pricks to dominate every league and said we all sucked in one of them. Two of us are pretty good in one of them, and then the third, only one of us made it. But, hey, it was fairly even between us otherwise. Go ahead.
I would like to give a shout-out to whatever his name is in the CBS Sports League, who's always calling out the bullshit power rankings.
Yeah. I forget his name.
Is Thomas.
Well, not only that, he has it out for Simmer. And I don't care what he needs to understand the coach rating. The coach rating is with your lineup.
The coach rating.
You didn't cost yourself points. Not necessarily that you're winning, but you didn't make a decision. I'm one of the worst coaches, and I know.
But it was always a nice
weekly
email he sent out.
Yeah, it was great.
Always a nice email that we would get.
So hey, keep sending that email. Watch the Pigskin Pricks, which I don't think you know who we are, but
that's right. But if you want to know who we are, then
here we are. Right. Maybe we should have posted something in our fantasy league like we said we were going to. We
really should have. Yeah. Well, it's not too late. We can still post.
Right. So, week 14 parlay picks. We all sucked. In fact, we all got 1 out of 3 right of different varying things. Of course, I picked one game that each of you picked, so those were the 2 I missed. Thanks, guys. Good job. And then,
Yeah, you're welcome.
Indian Washington. So Ev picked Washington, and they were not even favored, and they won. And Indy was favored, and we were very happy to see them kick Vegas' ass.
This is where I'm going to take over for just a second.
Go for it. Tell us about your real bets after a good week last week.
So parlay picks. So my 3-teamers, they're out early. Like one of the early games loses, they're done, right? Because they're straights. So I have a 5-team 7-pointer, and I have an 8-team 7-pointer. Every game hits. It's 7 points. All I need New Orleans to do is win on both tickets. That's all I got to do. It's 0. They just got to beat Philadelphia.
Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts.
I win an 8 and a 5-teamer. And those motherfuckers can't beat the Eagles.
How much was that?
What did I say? It's unpredictable when you put in a new quarterback. Unpredictable.
Well, even Joe says that. I mean, he's been more on the coach thing, but when a massive change like that, I feel good because I said he hasn't made the most impact yet, but I had a belief that Jalen Hurts. I had a belief that Jalen Hurts might make an impact this season, and he has.
It made an impact on Joe's wallet, so that's an impact.
I will say this: it wasn't Jalen Hurts as much as it was the defenses.
It was, and their defense
played rocked out. New Orleans defense played fucking shit. It was like, where did you go? I haven't seen them play that bad all year.
Well, back to what you said, Joe, like the Chiefs against the Chargers when Herbert just showed up. They didn't know how to prepare for this guy.
That's correct.
I mean, he only played a couple of snaps in the last couple of games.
Well, right,
and
but at least
it wasn't him
something
by himself, but he didn't give the game away like Carson Wentz did.
No, I understand that, and I'll give it to Jalen Hurts. But what I will say is, look, they had a few snaps to prepare. The Chiefs. They didn't even
know he was going to be there
until 10 minutes before game time.
No,
listen, they're like, holy shit!
Deflated.
They spent the whole week preparing for Tyrod, and then this other guy comes out, and it's like, we know none of his tendencies. We know nothing.
Anything.
At least these guys saw Jalen Hurts. They could see how he moves. They could, they had something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fucking horrible, dude. I'm just like, you got to be. Hey, it cost me $370.
But is it worth it knowing that the Chiefs might face the same shitty team? Because Breeze probably isn't playing. Let's hope New Orleans plays like that again.
I find this funny because up until this last week, you guys are like, Taysom Hill this, Taysom Hill that.
He's played pretty damn good, but not that
He's this, he's that. He is not the answer in New Orleans. And they found that out this last weekend. He's not their guy. Sean Payton may think he's that guy. He's not that guy.
I don't know that I agree with that, Joe. I don't know
what he proved is that he can't bring a team back.
What I would say, he's going to get a full year. If after this year, He's getting next year as his chance.
They didn't put
Drew Brees will be back next year.
They didn't put Jameis in, so I think
he'll be back
still
next
a good player.
I don't know, but
time. He needs.
But he's not the answer.
I think the jury's still out. Personally.
Yeah. Well, your jury can do whatever the fuck it wants, but I will tell you this: I went back and I listened to AFC picks, the NFC picks.
No, so did I. Look.
And the rookie and the coach of the year picks. Here's the funny thing. The funny thing is not the actual picks themselves, but it's the commentary around the picks.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking hysterical. Some of the shit that we said, and we're all guilty. Every one of us. I'm just saying. Asinine. If you go back and you listen, you're like,
don't go too far because I got some of that handy and I want us to cover it.
Sure.
So yes, and here it is. I mean,
right? No, well, the picks are the picks, but it's the comment. I don't know if you actually listened to it or
no. I did. I
made
notes. I made notes of our commentary, so that's why I'm like,
okay.
Let's kind of, if you don't mind, let's hit this as we intended. So last week we showed the playoff race. So these screenshots came from NFL.com. The bummer is, while they updated the records, they didn't update the upcoming matchups.
Right.
So, because I guess they're going to do it tomorrow on their website. So this shows that they're playing Dolphins in Week 14, but we're leading into Week 15. Week 14's over.
Right.
But 12-1 is their current record, so that part's right, but we don't see who they're playing next.
Right.
So the hunt, it's still right. We don't see the matchups properly. So Joe asked last week, "Hey, I'd love to see who we picked." Prior to and for those that have listened to us faithfully, they know. But for those who haven't, we made our predictions before the season even started. Because there was no preseason, we made it well before anybody snapped the ball. Okay.
Yep.
And what I'll say before we get deep into this, in general, I'm proud of all of us because for the most part, we nailed the teams that are in the playoff contention. However, we all missed some team. So, like looking at this view, none of us talked about the Browns at all. And they are going to make the playoffs, right? They're going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
So we all like the Chiefs, but we didn't pick their record to be this good. So my notes were, I said, and nobody else. It's a bummer. We said a couple of the records, and then most of the time we didn't say what record we.
Right. I was
I'm like, damn it, because that would have been cool to have. But I said the Chiefs were going to end 13-3. They're fucking 12-1 right now. Joe, you said probably 12-4.
Yep.
They're 12-1. I think they're going to outperform what we thought.
I think they're going to outperform all of us.
Yeah,
I don't know that they're going to
because the Steelers were doing so good. We didn't think 12-1 was good enough because the Steelers were undefeated. Obviously, we're starting to breathe a little easier because the Steelers lost 2 in a row. Now we can give up a game if we have to, and we're still okay.
The thing is, with the Browns losing, the Steelers pretty much have clinched their division.
Oh no, absolutely, and obviously give kudos to Joe. He's the only one who picked the Steelers. So to give you the idea of these pictures, if we're all in the same line, we picked them to win the division.
Right.
If there's somebody underneath like this, they picked them as a wild card, but they didn't pick them.
Yeah. Okay.
If they're on the edge like this guy, we had to give them a mention, but we didn't pick them to win. Okay. So Joe, both Evan and I talked about the Broncos. Oh, I think I put Joe, and I actually meant to put me. Oh well.
Yeah, Joe said the Broncos would suck.
Oh yeah,
that specifically.
I actually said
I was very forward
they
about
could be
that.
a dark horse, and Ev said they could be our biggest challenge. The thing is, really, the Raiders. We all made fun of the Raiders. The Raiders are the better challenge than the Broncos. But just give us a nod that the Broncos are at least still in the conversation, though they're not going to make it. We all know they're not.
They're not going to make
it.
They're
4-9.
Good defense,
dude.
right?
No.
They're 5-8. It's right here. That's accurate.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
It is accurate, but they're not going to make it because they're so far away. I mean, there's only 7 teams. Too many good teams above them. Just like the Patriots, not going to make it.
Not going to make
Raiders have a slim chance in hell if they can figure out how to recover from a 2-game loss.
Yep.
2 in a row. The Ravens probably, the Ravens or the Dolphins. We all talked about it. That's the 2 teams. But we've talked about most of these other teams except for the Browns. So, I think we did a pretty good job of identifying the teams. And actually, in this case, I don't think we missed anybody. Like, there's somebody that we talked about that was down below that isn't even in this conversation. I don't think we In the AFC, we did in the NFC, and I'll show that here in a minute.
So I will say, yeah, I picked the Colts to win the division. I picked the Titans as my wild card team.
Right,
But
and you can see that
but in that conversation, I also said I'm not picking the Bills because we know the Bills are going to make the playoffs.
Right.
So it was like
you'd have to listen to that to understand.
Right, I'm not going to pick them as my wild card team because likely, and I even said they're probably going to win the division, but I'm going with Miami as that dark horse. I stuck with Tua all year, and so that's why I went with them.
And you should stick with that because.
And actually, I'm surprised. Yeah, I mean, they've done a lot better than I actually thought they would.
Right, they're only a game out, Joe. So
that's exactly right. And they play
still
the Bills.
Could be right. What I feel bad is none of us identified the Browns, and they.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
not a single name is on the Browns. So,
but the Browns started like shit.
They sucked for a while. Baker
they
was
did.
Shitty. And if it weren't for their defense, they probably. And their running game's great. Kareem Hunt even made it better when he came back.
Yes.
Their defense is good. Baker's been okay at times, but he's also sucked at times.
He's turned it around.
But I wish we would have mentioned it just for the fact that, hey, we're the pricks. We're talking football. We want to know what we're talking about. But, hey, and we kind of miss the Raiders,
But you know what? It's okay for none of us to have picked the Browns.
No, when you look at the majority of the stuff we talked about, I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Just some key topics we talked about. You actually, when you picked Miami, Joe, you actually said it's probably going to be the Bills, but I'm picking Miami for the fun of it because it's a good dark horse to pick. Right.
Plus, I had talked up Tua. I was
absolutely.
like,
this guy. I want to give you credit that, I didn't think they had a chance. And here they are. They're in the 7th spot, so they could fall, but they are.
I don't think did we mention how good their defense was going to be? Did we even talk about their defense?
Joe did say they made a lot of moves on D, and that's one of the reasons he thought they were going to be so good.
Okay. I did, and I said they're all young, and I said if they can put it together, it would be a miracle, and I said that. But I said if they can put it all together, watch out for this team.
Oh, yeah. No, he did.
Because they're going to be crazy good.
And you nailed the Steelers, and we discounted them. I mean, Evan and I picked the Ravens, and the Ravens have really fallen short. I mean, obviously they're in contention. It's either them or the Dolphins. I mean, unless something really weird happens, it's them or the Dolphins. So we could maybe recover a little, but we picked them to win the division.
I thought they were at least a lock for the playoffs.
We picked them for the division, and they might barely make the wild card. You picked the Steelers to win the division, and you're right on. I mean,
to be fair,
they can't lose it. Even if they continue to lose.
I said the Ravens were going to the Super Bowl. So I'm
I know. I wouldn't even go there yet. Right.
I'll own up to it.
I picked Seattle. Okay, so I'm in deep shit, right? So it's like, okay.
We both got one. That's
right. They could. And so some other commentary. I talked about the Chiefs beating every team in our division twice. That's almost been true. I mean, we play the Chargers again. I'm going to say we're going to beat them. Yes. But we did lose to the Raiders one time. But otherwise, like I said earlier, they've dominated more than we thought they would, actually. I mean, the next game they might lose would be against New Orleans, and I don't think they're losing that game. We'll pick it later, but I don't think they're losing that game. The Chiefs might end up with one loss this entire season, and that is shocking. Okay, let's jump over to the NFC, unless you guys have anything else on this one you want to talk about.
I think we've hit it. Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
So NFC sees a little different picture. We all kind of ignored the Packers.
Yes, especially me.
We said they were falling off. I thought they would still make the playoffs. I thought they still might make it.
Right, Evan, I actually have your notes on that. Let me find it.
No way.
Yeah, you said maybe Green Bay. You said New Orleans, Seattle for wild cards because you didn't pick them for us.
Right.
You actually picked Arizona just to break, but you said New Orleans is a wild card team, and you did because you picked Tampa Bay, so it's understandable. You couldn't pick them any other way.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. But then you said Seattle, and you said San Francisco's still going to be good, and then you said maybe Green Bay. I'm the only one who picked Green Bay as a wild card team. We all picked the Vikings, right?
Yes.
Right.
And we screwed the –
well, they got a chance of getting in the playoffs maybe, but, we missed that one.
They're not going to get in the playoffs.
We made comments about their defense being pretty good, and that's where they suck.
Yeah.
Right? Their offense is pretty good. Their defense is shit-T. Yeah. Extra S on the shit.
Same with the Cowboys, John.
I was about to say, how about all of us on the Cowboys down there?
I actually stuck the Cowboys in here. This is one we actually technically they're still they're in the picture.
They're done.
They're in the picture, but we know they're good. We said they were going to win it.
Guys,
They were going to win the division.
God.
First of all, they would be if they didn't. If they,
right.
Dak screwed that.
I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, he's good enough. He's good enough on offense to make up for their lackluster defense.
And why did they suck at the beginning of the year?
What's that?
They still sucked when he was in there.
Yeah. They had more wins in Washington and New York and Philly.
They played good competition.
Would they be 6? Would they be 6 and 7?
Who knows?
Dak,
now, right at this moment, would they be winning against Washington's defense? Because that's the team we missed. We missed two teams, the Rams and Washington.
Yes.
We totally missed. Yeah. We discounted them. We said Washington sucks. We all said Washington sucks. I made jokes about Kyle Allen. And we kind of laughed about the Rams.
Hold on. Listen. I was the guy that said, watch out for Washington's defense.
Oh, yeah,
because their defense is good.
Well, they drafted in the number 1 round.
Well, that's exactly right.
But then we joked about Kyle Allen.
Yeah, but here's the problem. I'm gonna take away the East. Because number one,
we all took away the East.
Hey, look at us down there with the Giants, though. We said they might compete.
And they're not competing. But
they are competing.
Right, we gave them an honorable mention.
They were in first place last week.
They're one game down, so you can't say that, Joe. No, Joe, they're one game down. They could be.
I know. They won't, though, John. I'm telling you, Washington.
I don't disagree. I agree. I don't disagree. But they're in the conversation at the
Dak.
They're better than
the
Lions.
The Cowboys win. Washington. We thought Haskins was going to be the quarterback or Kyle Allen. We didn't know Alex Smith was coming back.
That's true.
If you would have told me their starting quarterback at the beginning of the year was Alex Smith, I would have chosen the Washington Redskins with their defense to win that division. But there's so much bullshit happen, it's impossible to pick the East.
But again,
now the one team that we really fucked that on was Philadelphia because they have everybody and they just suck.
Yeah, but none of us picked them.
What's that? No, we all picked Dallas.
Right. So at least we didn't.
We all picked Dallas.
Philly's not in this conversation. If you look at the screen, they are, but I think they're 13 or something. I just skipped it. I didn't think it needed to go any further than the 12th because we had their name, but we had the Giants, and then I stuck to. Once I realized we all picked the Cowboys, I figured we had to stick it in there just to show how bad the pick was. Because we all said they're going to win the division, and I don't disagree with Dak. It might have been a different story because their offense.
It would have been.
Their defense is terrible. We all know that. We didn't know it was going to be that bad. Their offense was pretty good with Dak. It was okay otherwise, but not enough to beat the teams they're playing. These other guys, I mean, again, we picked a lot of the right teams. We missed the Rams and Washington. But look at all of it otherwise. We did okay. I mean, and again, we talked about the NFC being like the biggest crapshoot of the divisions. It's like the NFC West – we felt was the strongest, and if you look, they do have the most.
Proving to be true.
They have the most people in this top conversation, because even the Niners are still in the conversation. So every team in the NFC West is in the conversation.
Yeah.
All the other divisions are a crapshoot.
I actually didn't think the Rams.
Saints and Tampa. We all like Saints and Tampa, and they're here. Right.
But you and I called the 49ers. We're like, they're going to regress. They're going to.
I was shocked. I was like, if anybody that shit the bed,
but you, Evan said, no, they'll still be in the playoffs.
I said they would compete. I said they might compete.
Yeah, but they're not.
My face down there.
They are technically they're still in the conversation, but it won't last long.
It won't last long.
Where we missed it, right? Evan, you picked the cards. I picked Joe picked them for the wild card, and they might make the wild card. They might.
Yes.
I sure hope the Vikings.
They haven't been playing well lately.
They ain't winning the division.
Because I'm from Minnesota, I want the Vikings to kick them out. To be honest, because that's the only team that has a chance.
The Vikings.
They lost to Tampa. No, I know they suck, but they got the offense that could possibly do it.
Maybe if they get lucky and win a game. But it's going to be luck.
Right. They
can't stop anybody.
They can't stop anybody. So they need to play like Seattle. Who can't stop anybody either.
And then it'd just be
they actually almost beat them, if you remember. They didn't, but they had a good game against them.
Yes.
Now they're in trouble because Arizona's probably a better team, but I would love to see Arizona lose and the Vikings get it just because that's the way I am. Seahawks are probably the biggest shocker. We all basically picked them, except for Ev, to be the division. 2 out of 3 picked them to be division.
Yeah.
And Evan just didn't pick them as a wild card because he had to give them a nod.
Yeah.
I do believe
He's mentioned them in wild card, but he gave New Orleans a wild card because we all only picked one wild card out of 7.
The Seahawks have a shot at winning the division still.
Oh no, they do, and they
of course
could.
They do, yeah.
I mean, they're you know.
But if they face the Rams ever again, they're not going to win.
Well, I'm not going to say that.
I know because
you
you're
know
a fan.
Division. Well, no, I mean,
and you never know what Rams team is showing.
I know, but
that's it, and because they
incredible.
don't sometimes, and their
offense doesn't. Their defense has been consistently badass. They really have.
Yeah, John, but they got beat. So how badass were they? I mean, it's like, oh, okay.
When did they get beat?
You're not badass when you lose.
Yeah, 4 times.
Well, yeah, but 4 times. It's more than one.
Yeah,
when
right.
you got the Chiefs, and the Chiefs isn't any good, but their offense is so fucking good. However, I wish Andy Reid would step on somebody's throat because this letting people and I'm just going to say this right now, that whole prevent defense bullshit is for the fucking birds. They need to stop doing it. Come up and play. They're like, well, we're afraid somebody will get behind us. Well, what's the point? All you're doing is letting them run down the field, except for you're letting them waste time. At least if they score on one play, it's in 4 seconds, and then Mahomes can come in and score again.
Right, exactly.
Jesus, I just don't fucking understand why they go. It's like they just give them chunk plays. Okay, 3 25-yard chunk plays, and you're at the end zone. I mean, you're in the. That's 3 plays. Yeah. Let's back off 30 yards. And then you get these teams that come up and play when you should be in prevent, the last play of the fucking game, when you should be putting everybody in the end zone, and they come up and they blitz. What the fuck is that? Coaches need to be fired. The Raiders fired their defensive coordinator this week.
Yeah.
He should have, because the fucking Colts rolled them. I mean, rolled them. Now, I will say this, Evan.
And that's after they got the Jets defensive coordinator fired for beating their ass.
I know.
Evan,
I'm gonna call you out because you said that Phillip Rivers is over the hill. He's no good anymore. He can't do shit. This team sucks. You can't win with Phillip Rivers. And I'm sitting here going, hey, this 38. He can still sling the ball, man. I'm telling you.
But
he
is
can
it,
throw the
Joe?
ball.
Has it really been?
Talk to me after the playoffs.
Right, Phillips played.
Talk to me after the playoffs when they need Phillip Rivers to drive down the field and win on a game-winning drive.
I don't know that they will because their defense is that good.
We'll see. We'll see. They're a wild card right now.
It's easy to
talk. Cakewalk in the playoffs.
It's easy to talk that, but look at their record.
Well, look at Phillip Rivers' entire career trajectory.
They've proved it.
We'll have this conversation after the playoffs.
This is by far the best team.
He's still got to prove himself. If they make it to the first round and they lose, then he's a failure. Then he failed.
Yep.
He failed. He's there to get them to.
This is the best team he's ever played on. He's never had a team this good in San Diego, ever.
He's had
that team that faced the Patriots a few years ago, AFC Championship.
What happened? They got their ass handed.
They got demolished.
That's what I'm saying. So this defense is better than any defense he's ever played with in San Diego, by far. Maybe. And he doesn't have to be great. It's kind of like the Chiefs. Does the Chiefs' defense, are they good? Well, I don't know. If you've watched them play, you would say no. But when you got Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid even said this, when you've got Patrick Mahomes, you are not worried. When you've got the ball on the 25-yard line with 1 minute left, you're not worried. And you're not worried because you have Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
so Chiefs fans should be worried that their defense is shitty.
Here's the thing,
but they're not.
If we're talking about the Colts, and they're facing the Chiefs.
Yes.
Is that defense going to win them the game against Patrick Mahomes, or do you need Phillip Rivers to step up and win the game?
Did you watch this last weekend's game? Because
no, I was driving.
Because let me tell you something.
No, I didn't.
If Phillip Rivers would have been behind center, they would have won that game. Because Miami's defense did shut Patrick down. 3 picks. He's thrown 2 all year. He threw 3 in that game.
They were down 10-0, I think, and then they came back and were up 21-0.
You put Rivers in there when he's up, watch the fuck out. then yeah.
Our
Plus,
defense did step up, actually. We got our own
not
picks.
to mention the fact that Indianapolis has a great running game.
I'm going to call it right now, and they're a first-round exit. I don't even care who they're playing.
That's just for
Don't
his
even care who they're
dislike
playing.
of the
Don't
Colts.
even care who they're playing.
I'm going to second that call.
Yeah.
I'm going to back
First-round
Evan on that.
exit.
Okay.
See you later, Philip.
He's bitter because the Patriots aren't even making the playoffs. Belichick's going to be sitting on the
Maybe.
couch.
There might be a little bit.
Definitely.
Right, that was the only way I was
called it weeks ago.
That would be the only way I'd give the Colts a win is if they face the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, because look at who are they going to get? They're either going to get the Steelers, the Bills, or the Titans. They can't beat any of those teams.
The best game.
Are they
best
going?
game
They have.
Are they going to? That's the question.
They have beat them.
They have, and then they've got.
They won't beat the Steelers. They
Yes.
won't beat the Bills. Maybe they'll beat the Titans.
Actually,
Maybe.
the team I think
First
they
of
have
all,
the best chance
we
against
know
is
we
the
know they
Steelers.
can beat the Titans. The Steelers are playing shitty right now. The Colts will beat them. And the
Could beat
Bills, who knows?
They
I
won't
mean,
beat the
The
Bills.
Steelers might right the ship. They got 3 more games before
I don't
they
know.
get into the playoffs. The Steelers might figure out their problems.
Yeah.
I would give them the potential that they can. I think the Bills, out of every team other than Chiefs, I think the Bills are the most dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do the
They
Bills,
have
that.
fixed
I
their
would agree with
problems.
that.
do the
They
Bills
are
beat,
playing really good ball.
do the Bills beat the Chiefs?
No,
They put up a fight.
no, they
I
do,
can't
and they
stop.
did once before.
They can.
They did once before, but they don't have quite
No,
enough.
they didn't put up a fight
Well,
against us at all.
Well, I'm saying they
Josh
can.
Allen wasn't playing very well at the time.
No,
I don't know
they
what
had a-
happened, but
Here's the thing: when the
At
Bills
start
are
of the game
clicking,
came out.
Mhm.
when the Bills are clicking, they can beat the Chiefs. Will they? I don't know, but they can.
Well, I think the Chiefs just have too many threats for any team on offense. The defense can be really, really good, but you can't cover everybody, and the Chiefs have just too many weapons. It's too many things to try to. Once you go, I mean, Miami did it. If you want to blanket Tyreek, well, then Kelsey's going to have a great game, or our running game's going to be awesome,
yes, I
or
agree.
Sammy, or somebody else is going to step up. You
Yep.
just can't shut down everybody. And what you have to do is score more than us. And our defense isn't great, but it's good enough to get 1 or 2 special plays that turn the game around for us. And that's what continues to happen.
Do you know
When
what's
that doesn't happen, we lose, right? If and that was the Raiders. Our defense could never make that special play happen, and we lost to the Raiders.
Do you know what's going to kill the Bills in the playoffs? Their running game.
Well,
They
Oh,
don't
that
have
is
a,
their-
they
that
don't
is
have
their
a running
biggest-
game.
that is a
They don't.
weakness.
And
Except
let me
for
tell you
Josh Allen,
something.
right? Except for the quarterback.
Well,
That's
and
not the guy
that's
you want
fine,
running
but
the ball.
if you're able to
No.
contain him,
Right, you don't want him to be your only
and
threat.
let me tell you something, the Browns last night, they did a pretty good job, except for around the end zone, of keeping Lamar Jackson in the pocket.
He had a 44-yard touchdown, Joe. I don't know if you noticed that one. That's a pretty – that was nowhere close to the red zone, and he ran it for 44 yards.
Okay, but did you watch the rest of the
Up
game?
the middle.
Up the middle. That's what I'm talking about. They didn't let him get outside.
Yeah. Not too,
Right.
Well, he was slipping and sliding most of the game.
Well, I mean, if you want to use that as an excuse, that's fine, because
Ah,
everybody
well,
else was slipping and
Yeah,
sliding.
I know
too,
they
but-
were. I know.
But
they
I
were.
mean,
No,
but
they did
it is what it is. That's going to hurt the Bills.
Dude,
their running game.
Yeah, he had
'Cause people are gonna
300
play the
or he
pass.
had 34 some 30 plus fantasy football points. So he did plenty of running on that because
Yes.
he didn't do plenty of passing.
No.
No, I mean the Browns defense did not do what we expected them to do. To be quite honest, nor did Baltimore's, because it was 40-something to 40-something. That's not a defensive game. It's not.
Not at all. No.
And that's where it's shocking, to be honest. That's where
Yeah.
God, whatever team, I guess, got the ball last, as we saw, because
Yeah.
both of their offenses are
Well,
pretty good.
I will
Defenses
say,
should have been better.
at the beginning of the year when we did these picks, you guys did say how good the Ravens defense is.
Oh, I know.
They're-
and
they're
they just
not.
haven't been there.
Their
They
secondary
They're not
sucks.
that good.
Calais Campbell sucks. They just aren't.
I think
think,
your
yeah.
offense is worse. Personally, still,
Overall,
Maybe.
they're just a
Can be.
letdown.
They're-
They're just a
they're- yeah,
letdown
big time.
their
overall.
offense isn't quite as good as they should have been, and their defense is noticeably not as good, but their offense is nowhere near what they should be.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And I'll tell
And
you
it's
what.
on Lamar. He hasn't
Yeah.
developed from last year.
He hasn't played. Yeah.
No. If anything, he's lost a little because all he's got is a running game, as Joe pointed out. He's not been
Yep.
passing well. He didn't
Yep.
improve on the passing game. That's where he has to improve.
Yep.
Right? We know he can run, but unless you can pass better than you did last year, or then you didn't grow, and the defenses can figure you out.
That's the thing.
I'll tell you what.
And you guys remember? Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys remember when Patrick Mahomes won his MVP, and then the next year won the Super Bowl, and made a leap. I was expecting a similar progression from Lamar Jackson, where he builds on his MVP season. So, it just did not happen.
I agree too.
I can actually understand where you guys were looking. The reason I went with the Steelers is because I noticed the year before, right? Ben's not in there.
You called it. They
still went 8-8, right?
Decent amount
Ben
of games.
brings you another 4 wins. That's 12-4. They're fighting for the division. That's how I put 2 and 2 together, because Ben is that good. I wasn't sure if they would win the fucking division, because the Ravens the year before were lights out.
Yeah.
However, it was a little suspect because they got kicked out of the playoffs in the first round. It was like, boom, you're gone. Yeah. And so it was like, whoa. Okay, so they're beatable then, right? And then Derrick Henry starts running like a man. He's 200 yards a game, right? And they start beating everybody. And then they come to Arrowhead. And the Chiefs say, well, all right, we're going to put 11 guys in the box. And we're going to dare you to run, and we're going to dare Tannehill to beat us. They go up 10-0 on us. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right? But then it's almost as if like a light bulb comes on. And they're like, fuck this. Same thing happened with Miami. They go up 10-0. You look over, they flash over to the sideline. Patrick Mahomes is yelling at everybody. Eric Bieniemy's over there. They got the whole offense huddled around. And they're yelling, they're talking. They're saying, do your job. I mean, you can read their lips. You know what they're saying. They go out there. What happens on the next series? Touchdown in like 3 plays. It's just they never get scared.
Right.
Ever. If they get down 20 points, it doesn't matter. Houston had them down, 24-0. They come back in the second quarter, and they're leading at halftime 28-24. In the first playoff game last year. Are you shitting me? I mean, who does that? Have you ever seen a team that's that explosive? Now, some bounces went our way. We got some turnovers and whatnot.
Right. Well, that's part of it.
But I will say the thing that surprised me this last weekend was Tua. It's the first time I'd watched him actually play a game. And, dude, he's going to be pretty good. I mean, he's young, and like the announcers say, he made some mistakes, but they're young mistakes. They're things that he's going to learn as he starts to play the game more and more. But
because even Mahomes throws picks.
Absolutely, and as you can see,
he makes mistakes. We've seen him happen. His first season against New England in the playoffs, not his first full season where he played, right? New England in the playoffs, he threw a pick that he shouldn't have thrown, trying to force it down.
And you understand that the Dolphins were without Kyle Van Noy, their signal caller in the middle, and they were without their starting safety. 2 of their best defensive players weren't even in the game.
Thank God.
Yeah, no shit, right? Because we've watched Kyle Van Noy, we know what the guy can do.
Right.
So
he was a stud in New England.
So I do want to give you some shit, Joe, because you called out Ev a little bit. So you talked like Derrick Henry wasn't going to do it this year.
Yes.
And he's been doing it this year.
Yes.
Everybody knows he's going to run the ball. He continues. He's leading a lot of fantasy leagues. He's not catching the ball in the backfield. He's just running the ball. He is the reason the Titans are still that good, and it's 2 years in a row. Right?
Yes.
If it weren't for him, the Titans wouldn't be in this discussion.
Okay. But let me ask you this. I don't disagree with you. He's run well. But do you agree that they can't win in the playoffs as a one-dimensional team?
Well, I agree because they didn't do it last year, and I fully agree more this year because their defense isn't what it was last year. I thought their defense was better, and their defense has significantly fallen off since last year.
Yes.
The only reason they're winning games is because if they can control the game with the run, they don't need their defense on the field as much.
That's correct. Yes.
Right. My only point is you're like, they figured out Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Watch out this
Well,
year. Well,
listen.
I even thought that in fantasy football. I didn't go after Derrick Henry. Your brother did, and he was the best team in our league most of the year. We ended up all with tied records, but he had Derrick Henry. I played every time I play a team in fantasy football with Derrick Henry, he's doing it. And again, the teams that don't have a great defense, Titans can beat. The teams that have a great defense, the Titans are screwed because they don't have a great defense to match that. They got a pretty good offense, but they don't have that defense to match. Their defense just isn't there this year.
Well,
Tannehill's fine. He obviously, against the Browns when they were way down, as you said, they gave him plays. Tannehill can throw the ball, but he is not an elite passer.
Well, anybody can throw the ball when you're playing pre-vet.
Right, he's pretty good. He's not terrible, but he's not elite, and he will never be elite.
He's serviceable.
But he's good because Derrick Henry's good.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, but I guess...
And they got good receivers, right?
I don't
think anybody's going to deny they have some really good receivers.
I guess my point, though, John, is this. I'd be curious to look at the numbers. The losses that the Titans have, how many rushing yards did Derrick Henry have in those games? I'd really be interested to look at that because
probably not his average.
Well, that's what I mean. So my question is, when they get into the playoffs, which are the top tier teams, I mean that's who you're playing.
Right.
Is that what they're going to then run into? Right.
Well,
it's easy to run for 200 yards against the New York Jets. It's easy to run it for 200 yards against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm really curious as to what those losses, because how many losses do they have? I need to look here.
4.
They have 4.
They have 4.
They're
okay.
9-4.
So in those 4, right. So in those 4 losses, I'd be curious to see how many rushing yards they had.
They didn't lose at Jacksonville, right? He only had. I'm looking at fantasy numbers. They had 8.4 points against Jacksonville. He did. So who did they lose to? They lost to Pittsburgh.
Well, they almost lost to Jacksonville. I think it was like 33 to 30.
And Jacksonville's defense was okay, but he only had 8.4 points. So that still points to he didn't have a great game. The team struggled.
Right.
Did they lost probably to Buffalo? What do you think?
Yeah. They got smacked by a couple teams.
Well, they lost
the
to
Colts.
They lost to the Colts.
You got to help me because I'm just looking at his fantasy performance. That'll tell me in general, real quickly, one player. This is the easiest way to look at a player and see how he's performed. Right?
Browns.
Buffalo, he struggled, but he had 19 points. It wasn't his average. Pittsburgh, he obviously lost. He had 15 points. Chicago, he had 6.8. Did they lose to Chicago? Indy, 11.9. Week 9. So probably, to be honest, he probably lost to Chicago.
Possibly.
I'll look it up to double check.
Well, I'm looking right now.
His first Indy game.
Actually, they beat Chicago 24-17.
Yeah, so he had 6.8 fantasy points. He only had 68 yards.
Yes. So
it's not always. Right.
It was a close game.
Hold on. They snapped a 2-game losing streak. So they lost to Cincinnati 31-20.
And Pittsburgh. Well, he had 75 yards against Pittsburgh in a TD. Not a great game, but not terrible. He had 112 yards and a touchdown against Cincy. So it wasn't on him. Right. I mean, they didn't shut him down.
But it is kind of, John, because 100 yards from your running back and you still get beat like that.
They probably had some other mistakes.
They need more.
Falls on.
Right, but they need more from him. Right, 100 yards isn't going to cut it. You need 150,
I think they need more
yards.
from
Oh, there's no doubt. But we're talking about Derrick Henry, and so you're saying, well, Derrick Henry has to.
But he only had a couple games better than that, Joe. Houston, he had 212.
Right.
Or he had 133. Indy, the second time, he had 178. Jacksonville, the second time, he had 215.
Right.
I mean, so most of the time, that 100 plus was a winning game for them.
And when you look at, I would love to even break it down farther and look at the time of possession. Right, because on the games where he rushed for 215 yards, they had the ball. Jesus Christ! I mean, when you rush for that many yards, you're on the field the whole fucking game.
Right, yeah.
Right, but that's not necessarily true when you run for 130 yards.
Back to that, Joe. That actually might be accurate because in Cincinnati, even though he had 112 yards, he only got 18 carries.
Right.
So he had a couple big runs, but he didn't carry the ball that much.
Right.
Yep, and
Right, because
Indy
and
the
they
first
were-
time he
they were
had
behind.
19 carries with 103 yards. So
Right.
he's doing his part, but if the team's behind and they take the ball away from him, I think that's their mistake. If
That's
they
it.
stop feeding them the ball,
Feeding
they're in
them.
trouble.
Yes, and they do that, and they
And
kind of
Cleveland.
have to do that if they're behind.
They
Listen,
think they do. Maybe they don't.
Yeah, John, but if you're playing a Kansas City Chiefs, then what are you going to do? I mean, you can only do so much. And listen, there are going to be teams that stop them.
Oh, they absolutely. We've seen
I mean,
that. So I agree. They're not winning a Super Bowl,
Right.
but they are a good
Right.
team because of Derrick Henry. That's where I was going.
Yes,
No matter
he
what,
makes them better.
They aren't stopping them like you thought they would. There's only been a couple games where they've shut them down.
No, I assumed that more people would put more guys in the box.
Right.
Okay? Because I don't believe in Tannehill. Listen, A.J. Brown, total stud. All right?
Well, and Corey Davis.
Corey Davis is okay. He's not A.J. Brown, though.
No, but he's good enough that he's a compliment.
He's serviceable.
Because if they only had A.J. Davis, they'd be in trouble. They need another guy that can catch and be a threat, and he is.
Yes.
Right? Because with only one guy, you just you double team him and put 8 guys in the box, you're good.
Yeah, John, that's what everybody said about the Packers' Devontae Adams, too. And that motherfucker is triple covered, and he still catches the ball. And let me tell you something.
Including all of us.
I said the Packers weren't going to the playoffs. So I'm sitting here going, you know what? I'm shocked. And my coach of the year now goes to Matt LaFleur. Because I'll say this. That guy, he saw something in Valdez-Scantling, and he saw something in Alan Lazard. Because I didn't even know who the fuck those two guys were before this season started.
I said Alan Lazard before the season.
Good for you, Ev. I didn't.
I did say Alan Lazard.
I didn't even know who he was.
We missed Scantling, who is a fast motherfucker as well.
Yeah. And so, so they've got the pieces.
They didn't have injuries with those guys.
You know?
Maybe.
Well, and that's it. And the thing is, I thought that Aaron Rodgers was pissed. I thought he was pissed that they drafted Jordan Love. He's going to be, it's going to hurt his play. Are they going to put Jordan Love in? There was all this talk, right? Fuck no. Matt had no.
If anything, it elevated it.
That's it. That's exactly right.
It
motivated him.
Him. And you can definitely see that now. And now they're the number 1 seed after the Saints fucked up. And let me tell you what, that hurt the Saints. Because you don't want to go to Green Bay and play.
No, but it's not
in
over.
The middle of
I don't disagree.
No,
but they're both 10-3. So.
But I think the Saints are going to get beat this weekend.
Do the Saints have the tiebreaker? Does it matter? I don't know. Didn't the Saints and Packers play?
Did they?
Or am I thinking wrong? Am I wrong?
No, they may have played. Let me look here.
I don't know. If they had the tiebreaker, they would be ahead of them. So
but
clearly,
they're
Green
seeding.
Bay.
No. So the Packers they're the number 1 seed, and they have the same record. So if they did play, the Packers would have won.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, they must not have played. I don't know why it's popping in my head that way, but I'm like,
what's that? Well, here I'm looking at New Orleans' schedule right now.
Yeah, take a look. Who did they play?
Okay. So they played the Buccaneers. They won. They lost to the Raiders.
They beat the Bucs twice. We remember that. That sucked. Yeah.
They actually did lose to the Packers.
They did play. That's
30-37. And actually, you guys know the Saints started 1-2.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
The Saints started 1-2.
They beat the Bucs and then they lost to the Raiders.
The Raiders and the Packers.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go.
In a row. Yeah, they were 1-2. And then they just went on this fucking winning streak until last weekend.
Hey, did you guys? So back to that. Did you guys know I said that the Saints were going to beat the Buccaneers twice, and they did?
They did.
As a matter of fact, called the Buccaneers to win the division. I think you're going to back that one off at this point.
The first. They're not going to win the division. I am glad, though, that they're in the playoffs, and I'm hoping that they get to play the Saints again.
Nobody didn't think they weren't going to. Nobody didn't think they were going to.
I would love to see them play a third time. I really would. I think fans, just in general, would like to see that.
Now, it's going to be a great game. And
they didn't beat them bad the first
game. Breeze is back. I don't want to see it if Breeze isn't there because it's not the same game. You know what I'm saying?
Is that the excuse you're going to use?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well,
they can still play, but it's not the same game.
All right, so you guys know this.
So you'd say, okay, it'd be a great game to watch the Chiefs play the the Raiders again without Patrick Mahomes. That'd be a great game
dude.
to watch.
I'm a big believer in Matt Moore. I'm a
He's
big
He might not
serviceable.
even
Moore.
he might not even show up, and we might have to call
Chad Henne.
No,
He's
Chad
our
Henning
backup.
Chad Henning was a guy that was our backup. We couldn't use because he was hurt, and we had to call Matt Moore. Sorry.
Well, right, and you know what? He was serviceable. He won 2 games.
Jesus Christ.
No, so the Saints play the Chiefs, and then
this week.
All right, and then they play the Vikings.
Yeah.
That'll be a massacre. Maybe.
Probably.
Who knows?
But that is where the Vikings have to win, and
then they go to Carolina, and by then McCaffrey is going to be back.
I don't think it matters.
I think it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I think they'll make it a game. I really do.
Sure. No, I do. Their defense is decent with
Maybe.
McCaffrey. They're a good.
But didn't I read something where Drew was hurt worse than what they thought, and he may not come back?
They continue. Well, he's definitely. They're saying he's not going to make this game against the Chiefs.
Right.
And again, if you got Taysom playing decent, you don't need him to. You're in the playoffs. You're in a pretty good spot.
He lost last week.
You make sure he's 100%.
No, but you're still up.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're going to beat the Packers and be the number 1 seed and get a bye, it doesn't matter. They can lose the next 2 games. They're still in the playoffs, Joe. They could lose against Carolina, and it doesn't matter.
They could, but they're still fighting for the number 1 position.
At the moment, they are, right?
Yes.
But they got to play the Chiefs. They're going to lose that game.
Well, we think they're going to lose that game, but they don't.
I know they don't.
I mean,
but I think they're being realistic with themselves. Let's say we could put Breeze out there and maybe beat the Chiefs and lose Breeze again, or we could just take the loss and keep Breeze on the sidelines and get him healthy for the playoffs.
Let him get healthy. They got to let him get healthy.
Hey guys,
I think you sit him out until the playoffs.
That's what I think too.
Do you guys have any idea the remaining schedule for the Buccaneers?
It's probably a joke.
It's the Falcons, it's the Lions, and it's the Falcons again.
Nice.
What a way to end the season. Now give it to the Falcons. The Falcons have actually turned it around a little, but they're not beating the Buccaneers.
Well,
they're not getting one of those 2 games.
To be fair, I don't think the Saints would need to lose out, and the Buccaneers would need to win
out. That's what I'm saying. Because
if they were going to be
to
flip the division.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not going to happen. But and that's why I said the Saints, they're going to get one of those 3 games, and that's all they need.
Oh, shit.
Right. They'd love to get the first round bye, and if they could somehow beat the Chiefs, they would then, I think, try to go for that first round bye. But they're going to see how it works out.
Right.
You guys realize how fucked I am. So I picked the Seahawks. Well, John, you did too. We picked
I
the
did
Seahawks
too.
to win the division. Their remaining schedule.
They're
this
not
weekend,
winning the division.
They're at the Washington football team. That's a scary game.
That's a scary game.
I'm sorry. And then
then
they have the Rams at home.
More scary.
Then they go to the 49ers.
They're going to beat the Niners.
Always gives them fits. Always gives them fits.
In San Francisco.
But San Francisco's just not been there. I don't care.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
You can never count them out again.
Now,
I agree.
I will say, if they do beat Washington, and for some reason they go home and beat the Rams, they win the division.
Right.
They'll win the
division.
division.
Oh, yes. Yeah, 100%.
But see,
I think they could beat record right now.
If they can somehow beat Washington, which is going to be tough, they could still lose to the Rams if they can beat San Francisco. That's what they have to do.
See, the problem is the Rams play the Jets. They play the Seahawks, and then they play the Cardinals. And
they have two division games that are not easy.
Right.
They could lose one of those 2.
Yes.
Then that makes it interesting.
Well, here's the thing: if the Seahawks lost this week, and then they beat the Rams next week, would they own the tiebreaker?
Well, it's 1-1
over them.
The Rams already beat them
Would
once.
the Seahawks own a tiebreaker?
No, well, it would be.
Oh, okay. So then it would come down to other logistics,
right? Like who beat who by more, and then their competition. How did they do against teams in the division? That's when it starts to matter. So we'd have to look at that. The Rams already won 1. I picked that game. You guys didn't. I'm pretty sure you both didn't pick. I think you both picked Seattle because you weren't Rams believers yet. It will be. The Seattle's got to beat Washington. But Seattle's in the playoffs, right? Does anybody disagree with that? Seattle's in the playoffs.
No, they're going to be in the playoffs. I'm curious if they're going to have a shot at.
Right. They're equal record with the Rams,
title.
but they got a tough road ahead.
Yes.
Simple as that. And the Rams don't have an easy one because they play 2 divisional teams.
You know what gets me is, did you guys look at the Packers' remaining schedule?
No.
So they play the Panthers at home, but then they play the Titans at home.
Okay.
Now that's an interesting game.
Be a tough game because their defense isn't great. They're going to have a hard time stopping Derrick Henry.
And then they're at the Bears on January 3rd.
They beat the Bears badly. They're going to beat the Bears badly again.
I know, but in Chicago, I wonder if they'll come to play. I know you don't. And the last time you said that, it was on the Chiefs parlay.
I said it 2 weeks in a row.
You bent over and grabbed your soap. So
But at least I'll take a parlay loss for the Chiefs getting a win, regardless if they cover the spread. Simple as that.
Yes.
So the Titans. The reason the Titans could be scary is because of the running game that the Packers are going to have a hard time stopping. But the flip side is the Packers' offense is going to run the Titans out of time. The Titans can't stop the Packers. They just can't even stop them.
It almost makes me wonder if LaFleur is going to go into that game and say, all right, you guys going to throw Derrick Henry at us? How about a little Aaron Jones and see if we can kill the clock? Because let me tell you something. If you can run the ball against Tennessee, you're just keeping Derrick Henry on the sideline.
Yep.
And
then once they start slowing Aaron Jones down, you just loosen the defense up a couple times with a nice deep pass, right? Then they gotta play loose again, and then you run the ball some more. Now the Titans are a good team, but a team like the Packers or the Chiefs or anybody with a extremely good offense, it's not going to matter because their defense is almost as bad as Seattle and Dallas. It's just not good.
Yeah.
Their only defense is their offense running the ball, right? That is that's Tennessee's defense.
No doubt. Yep.
All right. Can we go to a picks? We've really covered the playoffs well. I've enjoyed it, but we maybe want to try to finish our show.
Yeah, let's
We've ran long. Let's go to our picks. So I forgot to make my picks early, but I'll go ahead and knock them out as we go.
Okay.
I don't know why. I was just getting it all together. So
right.
Ev made the team matchups. I like them all, Ev. I wish I saw another one just because
I thought they were good ones.
No, they are. There's a playoff a game that matters with playoff implications, though it's not the most exciting from a team perspective, other than it's always a good divisional game. It's Minnesota and Chicago, right? They're both in, flip back real quick, they're both in the talk about a playoff spot. And one of these guys they're playing each other. So one of them is going to win, right? And that's going to make them more relevant. The other team's going to fall away. That one I would have loved to see just because I'm a Vikings fan, but there's nothing. I think these games are good.
I almost picked that one.
Right. The Browns Giants I'm not excited about, except for the Browns are the good team, right? The Giants, obviously, if they could win, now they're relevant again.
Right.
So it's not bad. But I love the rest of the games because they're ones we've always been picking.
Right.
I mean, the Colts Texans, is it really that exciting? Only because if the Colts win, it puts pressure on Tennessee. I'd love to see the Tennessee game. And the Texans could do it. They almost did it the last time.
Tennessee's going to win. They play the Jags, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but the Colts should win this game, right?
I wasn't picking that one.
So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to say the Colts.
Colts.
Yeah.
Come on.
Ev?
You know what? I'm just going to, based on what I was talking about the Colts earlier, I'm going to stick it to you guys and say Deshaun Watson and the Texans.
Good for you.
Dude, that's almost as bad as the New England pick last week.
So let's just go back for a second. When you're 9 games down to one guy and 4 games down to the other guy, you got to pick games like this.
That's right. You do.
That's the only way. And again,
when you got Deshaun Watson as quarterback, anything can happen.
They almost did it the last time they played each other. But Deshaun Watson, the quarterback, fumbled the ball, and then the Colts won.
Yes, they did.
So of course I'm going to pick the Dolphins. And Evan, do you want New England?
Of course.
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay, Joe.
Bill Belichick eats alive rookie quarterbacks.
I want the Dolphins.
I know you do. I was getting that one lined up. Bill Belichick eats alive. Doesn't matter what the defense does to the Dolphins because what the Dolphins defense does to Cam Newton is going to be the reason that they lose the game.
Cam Newton will have somebody.
He can't handle the truth.
In his
he
rear.
can't handle the truth, Evan. He just can't. This one I hate picking the most. I really want to pick Washington, but I'm going to give you guys a chance to steal a game on me. I'm going with Seattle. I'm going to say I believe in that pick as much as I really worry about this game because Seattle's defense sucks. Washington defense is good. Washington's defense offense isn't great.
Here's the problem I have with this. Does anybody know if Alex is playing? Because if Haskins is a starter, they will not win this game.
Alex only had a bruise. I don't know if he's playing. It wasn't as bad as they initially thought. They did release a statement after it. It was it was a calf strain. I know that for a fact. A calf strain. I don't know that he's playing. Let me look while you guys think about this for a second.
Okay, because that makes a difference. If Alex is playing, I'm going to pick the Washington football team. They're playing really well right now, and the Seahawks, I don't know that their defense can stop Alex Smith. And I think Washington's defense can stop Seattle. So, but if Haskins is your quarterback, then hell no.
Calf tightness is what it's described.
So I guess it all depends on the status of Alex Smith.
No, I agree
Alex
with
Smith
you.
is in Washington all day.
I agree with. I don't know if Alex Smith is in. I'd be more concerned. I agree. So it's
okay.
They don't know right now. They don't know. And
they don't know.
It's Tuesday. We're doing a show a day early. Everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do it as late as Thursday.
All right.
Then can we?
You can't change it. You just got to pick this. That's all there is to.
Give me fuck. I'm down. Give me Washington. What the fuck? I mean, Haskins ain't gonna win the game. If it's Alex, they got a shot. If it's Haskins, I'm done. I'm cooked in the water. So what the hell? I'm down, man. We need to catch.
You got to win.
To catch your ass. So
there we go.
Washington. Let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't know the answer.
Why not?
You're not wrong on that, by the way. Hey, totally off subject. I don't even know why this popped in my head, but I just got to say, you know what I did on Sunday during football day?
No.
I was on the slopes skiing. It was awesome.
You know what? I saw a picture of Bud.
Yeah.
I figured you guys were up there.
So he and I both are volunteers at our local ski mountain, so we get to ski for free. That's the whole reason we're doing it. So he was in training. I was actually working. And then for the second half of the day, we skied our ass off. It was wonderful. Anyway.
Does he ski or snowboard?
Snowboards.
Okay.
You're on the mountain, you're on snow, you're on something that slides. He snowboards. I snowboard too, but not as well as he does, and he's never skied in his life. So,
gotcha.
But it was freaking. The first part of the day was so hot you couldn't wear a coat. I literally was like in a vest and a short sleeve shirt. Actually, like a Under Armour,
So what do you volunteer? What do you do when you volunteer?
We help answer like guest questions when they come in.
Are you out on the slope?
I was for the last half of the last couple hours of my shift. It was great. They come in. So the mountain when we're on changed some of their procedures due to COVID. They make everybody pre-book. And if you don't pre-book, you got to go to a computer and fill out your information before you go to the cash register. They're trying to keep people from getting too close to each other.
Gotcha.
And of course, making sure they have their mask before they come in and just answering questions and being helpful. Like I had a lady with 3 daughters, young daughters, 8 and under, and I could tell by looking as she went through the line that she was going to need some help. And not only did she need help, like one of her kids got the wrong size boot, I went and got her the next size up. She got 2 different boots, and I took her boot up and got it swapped out for her. So those kind of things, just being helpful, nice guy kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, what a nice
answering
guy.
simple questions. Yeah,
let's move on.
Dude, to ski for free. Actually, I have to pay. I get 50% off my rental, so I did the year rental. I paid $75 to get my equipment for the year. That's what it's costing me to ski for the year. Tell me that's not awesome.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
that's
let's go.
Good.
Yeah. That means that you can pay for me when I come up to ski.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Chiefs. Come on.
Yeah, right. Oh, I was supposed to pick that first. Chiefs.
Oh, well.
We're all going to pick the Chiefs.
Well, I don't know if Evan is, but
Ev's picking the Chiefs.
I'm going Saints.
I was going to say,
go, baby.
That's not a bad pick because they certainly,
I really love that you give me extra wins, but you're so far. You're
I'm
so
closing
far
the gap.
You're so far behind, and you keep losing games to me that you really got to do better.
I'm closing the gap. Let's go.
Right. Washington, I'll give you credit. You got a chance. New England, you don't have a fucking chance, and the Saints, you don't have a chance. Okay.
I'd
Anyway.
like the Browns,
Okay.
please.
We'll see.
You don't want me to pick that one first? Okay, Browns.
You're going to pick the Browns.
I am. You're right. I'm picking the Browns.
So it wasn't like it mattered.
I wish
Yep.
I could pick the Giants. It's just not happening. I don't even like the Browns, guys.
I don't either.
I don't
but
even
I'm not
like-
going to pick the Giants.
Right. I don't like Daniel Jones or
Yeah,
whatever either.
I
but
would
Daniel
actually-
Jones. Daniel Jones is playing like shit.
he's not good.
No.
Maybe, but they're even if it was Colt McCoy, even with Daniel Jones, they're just the Browns are too good of a team.
Now,
yeah.
They are 9-4 for a reason.
is
They got
Colt
a good D. Doesn't
did
matter.
Daniel Jones play this past weekend? He played, right? I
Yes.
didn't see the game.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Okay, so I'm going with
Like
the Browns.
shit.
If Colt McCoy were in there, I would pick the Giants because he'd be facing his little team. But I'm
Yeah.
going with the Browns.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't have won anyway. It wouldn't have mattered.
All
You'd
right,
have just-
boys.
You'd have just gave up another game. So
I would have
All right,
liked to have complete
so let me look at this for a second. So Ev
Okay.
has 1-2 games.
4 different than you.
4 different than you.
And then how many different than you, Joe? 1, 2, 3 different
You
than
guys
you.
only have 1 different.
We only
Yeah.
have one.
Right,
yeah,
because
one different.
Joe actually, if you look at his record, he keeps pretty consistently close to me. He only picks the ones that really have a potential for a win, and he gets some of those.
I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I'm going rogue. I'm going
you
rogue.
have to. You don't
I
have a
gotta come
choice.
back.
But
Yeah.
But again, you're gonna continue to fall off. This is. Ev, you might get one out of
5-0.
these. You might get one out of these 4 that you picked against me. You're not getting them all. You're not even getting close.
I'm
But
getting
good
them
luck.
all.
Good
Getting
luck,
them
my
all.
friend.
Good luck.
All right. So
All right, hey, let's pick the parlays real quick.
yeah, let's do the parlays. We're back to all of us now. I didn't prep those either. I didn't even look
I
at
didn't
them.
either.
But I have the thing ready to write them down. That's as
Okay.
good as I did.
Well, no, that's, you got to start somewhere. Shit.
That was as good as it got. So let's
Yeah.
take a look.
So
at the,
here's the thing.
Okay.
if
Earlier
you're
in the
winning, you got to pick them.
Earlier in the podcast, I tried pulling up the spreads, and as soon as I did that, it started crashing my internet because I can't do more than.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't have this. I can't. Can you share your screen on
I
the
can do
actual?
that.
Yes,
I'll
he
do
can.
it. I
Yes.
will do that.
Yes, he
since you
can.
asked this time.
That way I
this
can
time.
look at it.
Yep.
All right. I was trying to give us a little better.
Who wants to go first, or does
Well,
somebody
Evan
want me
is
to go
leading,
I'm
first?
so
leading
we're
in parlays. I don't mind going
So
first.
we got to give Ev. So Ev, I'm going to just
Okay.
scroll by. So we got
I
New
got-
England and
I
the
don't-
Raiders
that's
and the
last week.
Rams.
That's last week.
Is it week 15 this week?
Yeah.
It's week 15. Yeah.
Okay, that's why. All right.
Right.
So
Uh,
the Chargers in Vegas. Do you like that 4-point spread for Vegas?
You know what? Yeah, I think. Well,
I mean, there's more. I'm just trying to give you a quick
I-
intro.
oh, okay. Maybe that one.
Okay. Buffalo, Denver. Buffalo
taking-
up by 7.
I'm taking Buffalo because they're going to win by 20 points.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. Denver's D is pretty good.
They're
I'm
they're
but
playing.
taking
I-
Buffalo.
I like that. So Ev's got Buff -7.
Buffalo
Versus
-7.
Denver. I don't dislike that game. I might come back to it myself, but we're gonna. Okay, Green Bay, Carolina. Green Bay by 9.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, Houston, Indy. Indy winning by 7.
Houston, I'm taking Houston. Give me the 7 points.
Nice.
I think they win the game outright, but
Well, you picked it, so that
I
makes
know.
sense.
So-
I'm
so we
taking
hope-
Houston.
So we hope so.
Okay, Tennessee 11 over Detroit.
I don't like
God.
that. I don't like that point spread.
Tampa 6 over Atlanta.
I don't like that point spread either.
Baltimore 14 over the Jets or the Jags. Sorry.
Good
I
God.
don't like that point spread, although they should destroy them.
Right.
But I don't like it.
Miami 3 over New England.
I'm not touching that game.
You should. That was a really good spread.
You know what I'm taking? I see Washington, Seattle. I'm taking Washington. Give me the 6 points. Because every time I take Washington and I'm getting points, they win the game outright. So
John,
I'm
I have 5.5 on the Seahawks game.
I'll take
Well, so if you look in the lower right, it says 5.5, but the question is 6. So let's go with 5.5 because that's true. What they're saying is
Okay.
they got
I'll
to
take
win by
5.5.
6.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
my 3 right there.
I think that's a really
Yeah.
good pick there. That one I'm
Okay.
going to have a hard time with. Let me go back to the Houston game. I wrote it down wrong. I think I said, yeah, I gave them, and that one
It
is
says
a 7-pointer. I said -7 is a +7 for Houston.
+7.
My mistake on the typing. So, okay, Joe, you want me or you?
I can go.
Go for it.
I'm ready. Well, first of all, I want Miami -2.5. You're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
That's such a great fucking
spread.
It's ridiculous.
I think I'm grabbing that one myself.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
he just
so,
can't because he's a fan. He just can't because he's a fan.
That's so.
He missed that Rams game that they just got.
Call me next week when they cost you some money.
We're gonna call you next week and laugh at you.
All right. I actually want the Washington football team +5.5.
All right.
Good
and that's dangerous because if Haskins plays,
Haskins is in there,
it'll fuck that. But we're gonna.
That's true. I'm glad you mentioned that. I might stay away from that game just for that reason.
Just because, yeah. And then I'm gonna take the Browns -4.
All right. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see what I like the Miami game, so I'm going to just steal that one.
I mean, that's just a great setup.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Obviously, I'm not a believer in Miami against
New England
unless
I don't
the
blame
matchup
you.
is.
I don't blame you.
I'm not taking this Pittsburgh game. Not that they shouldn't beat Cincy, but they've just not proved it. This is a prove me.
Well, they destroyed Cincy the last game, but they've been playing like shit.
So sooner or later, I'm going to get these guys to hit. So I'm taking Kansas City -3 versus New Orleans.
That's not a bad.
That's not horrible.
That's not.
I actually like that more than the last couple.
That's the smallest spread they've had all season, I think.
Yeah, it is. For good reason.
Arizona versus Philly, based on the fact that Philly just beat New Orleans, I'm not touching that one. 17. Now, should the Rams beat Jets by 17? Yes, but I don't like 17 points.
I don't like
that's a lot of points.
Should San Francisco beat Dallas? Yeah, but I don't like Seattle or San Fran, so I don't like that. I'm going to avoid that game. Minnesota, Chicago. Ooh.
That's it.
I looked at that one. That was an interesting.
That's an interesting.
I'm going to keep looking again. Baltimore and Jacksonville should happen. I'm going to come back.
I would actually
Tampa, Atlanta. I'm actually taking this Tampa game. I'm taking Tampa -6 because I think they're going to win by 7. I think they're going to win by 7. Yep.
That feels like I think Tampa Bay is going to win, but I would not be surprised if Atlanta keeps that close.
If it's a field goal game.
Right. 3 or 4 point game.
I hear you. Tampa's been pretty good.
It's not a horrible pick.
I mean, Atlanta's not a bad game. Tampa's D is pretty solid.
Yep.
Right? They really are. And Atlanta's got a good offense. There's no doubt in that. Their defense sucks. So
yes,
I mean there's some other good games. This Buffalo one's very interesting. I don't dislike that game.
Yeah.
Denver's D is pretty good.
I don't like Denver's defense in their house.
That's what I don't like either. I don't like the Indy game because Houston. I mean it was a 7-point game last time, but Houston kept it to that.
Yes.
Tennessee could beat Detroit by 11. There's no doubt about that. None of these are lovely. Since you guys didn't pick it, what my mistake is, I've been picking a lot of the games you guys have been, and that's been hurting me. I did pick one of them. I picked the Miami game. But that's only because Evan's an idiot. Otherwise, I stayed away from your guys' game. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Evan, real quick, before we bail out of here, you're only 5 hours from me. When are you coming down so we can head to the casino?
Say it the other way.
Whenever you want.
When is he coming up? I mean, he always wants you to – it's always about
but I don't have a casino around
I was going to say, how many casinos do you have in Miller, Nebraska? Hey, listen, when we buy the Pigskin Pricks bar up there, then I'll come up. I'll help you get it going. There actually is an empty bar, and because I just saw it. It flashed when I looked up Miller, and I was like, huh. So I actually looked at the pictures, and it's fucking cool inside.
So
man.
Is there no reservations?
Really cool.
Are there no reservations in South Dakota that do gambling? Because
there
are in Minnesota, right next door to you. In Minnesota, there are.
There's slot machines in every convenience store. So yes, but it's not the kind of casino you think. There's no blackjack.
I mean like in a lot of states, like Oklahoma, right, where if you go through or even Kansas, if you go through the Indian territory,
there's some reservations in this state.
There should be a lot because
that have big Indian casinos.
Right, big enough that you could at least sit at a table, right? Almost anywhere
I think they have some. I don't know off the top of my head.
Of course,
but I imagine
maybe
would.
not where you're at because you're not really in the western part of the state, which is where I think more of them would be. But even like Minnesota has them. I don't know about North Dakota, and it could be the states too. You still have to pass it. They might not allow it.
Yeah.
I don't know. South Dakota allows everything.
You'll have much more fun if you come down here.
Probably.
Because we do have casinos. They all have
Well,
sportsbook. Matter of fact, the one at the Ameristar has Amerisports, which is a sports bar. You can actually sit around this circular bar, watch sports all day, and just run down to the ticket and make your bets.
let's be honest, Joe. Not only that,
Vegas style,
but
it's fun.
You have more than just Dairy Queen in your town.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, we do.
And your internet's better than your cell phone, so it might be a better.
Yes.
Now the
yes.
state isn't a whole lot better.
And the good news is the basement. It's your own apartment.
There you go.
Nice.
I mean,
there's more furniture, as you can see.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm on the floor right now.
Leather,
that looks enticing.
Leather couch.
You got your own bedroom, your own bathroom, your own kitchen.
You might have to tolerate some Chiefs paraphernalia, but other than that,
I have Boston Bruins right over here.
Look at that.
That's not the Patriots. I would be shocked if you
I don't have
Patriots.
the Patriots. No,
See,
I have
we go.
Chiefs, K-State, Boston Bruins.
Yep, right.
Yes.
Okay.
And K-State behind
tolerable.
you.
And K-State behind me. Yes.
Tolerable.
Yeah, I mean he's wearing a Bruins hat, so you're good.
Yeah, well, I'm a Bruins.
I know you
I'm
are
a Bruins fan. So I root for the Brews. And,
if the goddamn Patriots wouldn't have been so good for so long, you probably wouldn't hate them as much as you do. Considering you have so much family up in the Northeast.
I do hate the Patriots. And
I do too.
And when Bill was around, I gave him shit all the time.
It's kind of like I hate.
And he said
Dallas
you're just
Cowboys.
bitter because we're so good, and I'm like, I absolutely am.
But
because it was in the '90s, and the Chiefs made the playoffs every year, and it was one and done.
Right.
Yes.
Well, because if it wasn't the Patriots, it was the fucking Colts that did us in.
Yes.
I mean, it was one of those two teams every year.
Time, yes.
Now, we are going to kind of forget about all that really quickly, Evan, after this year when the Patriots don't even make the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, I already felt better last year when the Patriots were one and done. And
it's going to feel real good for you come January.
And then the Chiefs beat them or won the Super Bowl. That was kind of like good enough. But now this year, I mean, a couple of things.
Nice cherry on top.
New England's shitting the bed worse than Tampa Bay. That's always nice. And now they're going to prove they're not going to win the division nor even make the playoffs. So I'm having a good year. And the Chiefs still rock.
I have to bag on Evan one more time.
Please do.
Evan, if you go in and listen to the AFC, the way you talk about Stidham, you're like, yes, Stidham. Well, we just got to wait and see how he plays, but he can take them all the way. Dude, he's so bad.
But Joe, do you remember
to listen to?
That just proved how much of a true fan Evan is, because if you remember, as soon as they signed Cam, Evan was like, "Yes, we got Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I got a fucking Cam Newton shirt." Who's Stidham?
I remember I said.
He's like, I don't even know who Stidham is.
I said Stidham who?
Yeah, I mean,
I remember that.
So he is like a blind fan. Just he supports his team.
Yes.
That's the one thing I respect about you, Evan, is that you do just follow your team and you're diehard. But I use it against you, obviously.
Yes, and when the Chiefs blow it, he's going to use it against us too.
Yes, I will.
Yes,
I will.
They won't. The thing is, Joe, they're not going to blow it against New England.
No,
that is true.
But he doesn't care.
There will be no salvation in that regard.
I feel really strongly that the Chiefs are still going to make the playoffs and win it. I did actually write down all the Super Bowl stuff, but I wanted to save it for another episode instead of capping it in this one. I thought I was going to originally do it, and I'm like, it'd be better if we actually let the season go a little further and kind of firm up who's going to be in the playoffs, and then we look at what we said and see if we want to make any new predictions. I think it's a little late to re-predict the divisional stuff because we're too close. I think
we can re-predict
other than a game or two.
We'll re-predict the playoffs before
we should do the Super Bowl and the championship stuff, but we should do it as soon as we know who's in the playoffs. We should make that call.
I think
we kind of missed the divisional stuff. I think it's too late. More teams are kind of solid at this point.
I think I even predicted who was going to play in the championship.
So after you did that, we all did. We all.
good.
You did it first, and we all came back and said who we're going to play each other. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm good because I really want it because that's what really makes it fun. It's like, who did you actually think was going to get there?
Yep.
Is it that team? Here we are.
Right.
So.
And so we'll talk about that come week 17.
Yeah.
after week 17, unless we already know for sure by then, because it might firm up before then. Sometimes it does. Like there's no loose ends. Right. But if there are loose ends, we'll wait till after week 17. Then we'll recap what we predicted, see how close we were, and then we'll adjust and see if we want to make any changes and go from there. Because if we let's say Baltimore falls out of it, well, then Eb might want to repick because he had Baltimore in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's not really a whole lot of fun.
Right.
All right, guys. I think it was a great show. We went long, but I think it was a lot of fun. So thanks for that. And until next time.
There's a lot to talk about.
Oh,
man.
dude, it was great.
You got to cover it.
The season is finally getting really exciting. I love this.
Yeah.
Playoffs are happening.
These shows are going to be really fun in the playoffs. I'm telling you, when we get to the playoffs, it's going to be it'll be panic. And we won't have fantasy football stuff. So, but we'll have more in depth conversation into the games.
Less games, but more to talk about. We can cover like each game a little bit better. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Unless it's just a shit show.
John, that might be one where we get all of our mom's predictions.
That would be cool.
For the playoff, like do that for the playoffs and be like, just
ask
them.
That would be fun.
And put them
I will say, my mom watches this show and it feels pretty knowledgeable about football.
So does mine.
She says things and I'm like, okay, that's not a bad prediction. So she might do better than I
don't know that my mom's predicting, but she watches, so maybe she's finally getting it. She'll just maybe she'll pay attention to the fact of who I pick and then just support that.
Somebody needs to send a message to Harry because he is coming on the show for a playoff special.
Yeah.
He's got to. We got to get him on here.
I'll get him on here.
Yeah.
We've got to get him on here.
About it.
Just say, come on for one show. Let's talk about whatever. I don't care, but we got to get him on for at least one.
Bait him with Green Bay.
We'll talk about Green Bay. Yeah. So we'll just. Well, he'll be like, Joe, you said they weren't even going to make the playoffs. I'm going to need you to shit. He's going to be like, you were way off.
Talk to the hand, man.
That's
Talk to the hand. That's right.
That's it. All right, boys. Until next time.
Yep.
All right.
Later.
All right.
See you guys.